personality came out of an undersized town, Macon, Georgia, a piddling and nondescript town in the middle of the state where wind sighs in the tall pines, the heat of the sun is fierce, and people see visions in cloud formations. In Macon, the favorite pastime was replaying battles from what the locals called the War of Northern Aggression. That and worshiping ancestors who had served the glorious cause. The town was barely touched by the Civil War. Sherman had fired a few shots in that direction to keep Macon's militia in place as he raced past en route to Savannah, but the town's inhabitants preferred to believe that they had been invaded and ravished, that because of Sherman's assault the chickens stopped laying eggs and the cows stopped giving milk. Generations of Macon's children grew up obsessed by the Civil War and roiling with ever-fresh anger at the damn Yankees, a phrase expressed by Southerners as a single word to show their everlasting contempt. Given that Scott's first and middle names came from Robert E. Lee, one of the most venerated men in Southern history, he would have been horrified at being compared to a Yankee general, especially a man as vilified in Georgia as William Tecumseh Sherman. But the comparisons are many and cannot be denied. Both men spewed so much verbiage that their words distort their historical image. Both men were dramatic and theatrical. Both men were inveterate womenizers who felt considerable remorse late in life for their weakness. Both men were prone to lengthy and debilitating bouts of depression. Both men loved geography and had a genius for knowing and remembering terrain, an invaluable gift in war. Both men can be considered gifted to the point of genius in their individual fields of warfare. Sherman laid waste to a large part of southeastern America. Scott laid waste to enemy forces in the air and on the ground in southeastern China. Finally, both men were warriors, and warriors must be judged by their deeds in war, not by their human frailties. Sherman and Scott were among the most brilliant soldiers of their times in their separate wars. Like it or not, Sherman and Scott were two peas in the same pod. An invisible wall built with bricks of prejudice and sealed with the mortar of inferiority surrounded Macon, and about the best a Macon boy could hope from life was mediocrity. But you would never know this by the attitude of local boys. They rolled their shoulders, hustled their testicles, and looked around with angry and defiant eyes, ready to take on all comers. They would tell you in a heartbeat that they were as good as any sumbitch from New York City, and that they could do anything in life that they wanted to do. But deep inside, in words that were never spoken, they believed that only the wealthy and privileged ever climbed the invisible wall. Scott, pushed by his mother, resolved early in life that not only would he climb the wall, he would travel farther, fly higher, and do greater things than anyone from Macon had ever done. He would do all this and more, by God. And he did. In World War II, he was an Army ace, a bona fide national hero at a time when America so desperately needed heroes. He came home in early 1943 as Americans waited for their country to invade Europe. Scott traveled America making speeches to galvanize defense workers, to support the war effort, and to encourage people to buy war bonds to finance the war. His speeches were war stories from far-off China, and pictures of the time show hundreds of people staring at him with enthralled looks on their faces. During his speech-making tour, a host suggested he write a book about his combat experiences. He was too busy to write, but he was a talker. So he took off 3 days to dictate a book. God Is My Co-Pilot sold hundreds of thousands of copies and influenced